country are you from?
Russia.
Okay.
I don't think, yeah, you ain't going to touch that one. In the white shirt.
I have a question. Somewhat new to Formula One. I'm not sure which driver to address it to, but regarding the tires, they've had pre-season testing with the tires, 7 races, and although they're getting closer to understanding tires, could you explain to me somewhat specifically the car setups that change the way the tires run? Sometimes the front degrade, sometimes the back degrade. What do you guys do and understand, and what does the mechanics do to try to get a handle on it? The weather is, I guess you have somewhat of an idea what race conditions are going to be temperature-wise, and that's a big effect, but it still seems everyone's having trouble with that. If you could help me out with that.
So tires work different ways. You have 4 different compounds we have, all being at all different working ranges in terms of temperature. So pre-event, Pirelli will choose a tire. You can go through a stage of, because it's too cold, you can get a lot of cold graining, so that means the tire will just fall apart because it's not in a good working range. You can equally get thermal deg, which is just surface overheating, unable to control. And it can all be controlled by bulk temperature, so the inner carcass temperature. And if you can really damage a tire by, say, the first 2 or 3 laps, if it's not at the bulk temperature you need, you can damage the external of the tire on the track, and that will just degrade your tire. Equally, if you're very kind to it at the beginning, you can make that tire last much longer. Setup is difficult. Obviously, maximizing that over a long run can be quite hard. But the big thing that everybody's going for at the moment is in terms of rim temperature. So if you go into the details, I think Gary Anderson always is very good at relaying that information across to you. You will see how each team goes for different options and what they do at each track to try and maximize it based upon climate conditions.
Yes, sir. I mean, you've had your hand up for a while. You, Under Armour.
I guess I'll direct the question to Paul. I'm interested in what sets a Formula One driver apart from all the other aspiring drivers. Is it more work ethic? Do you outwork other people and that's what gives you the edge? Or is there something special that you're born with, something that you really can't put a finger on in the way that you can handle a car that really sets you apart?
Is that directed just to get to Formula One or compared to other drivers in Formula One?
Both.
I
guess what I mean is
obviously
everybody in Formula One is obviously the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of thousands of people that...
I think it's wrong to say everybody because there's many people that I've come through the junior categories racing that equally deserve a chance in Formula One, in my opinion, who have a lot of talent, a lot of success. For whatever reason, it hasn't worked. Now, that can be right time, right place. It can be image. It can be anything. Thankfully, I've dedicated a lot of time with my family to get to Formula One. I have, there's an element of luck to get there because there's only 24 places on the grid, and it's unfortunate, but I am a great believer in life. What's for you will go for you, and what's not, you need to pick yourself up and make the best of the situation you're in.
Yeah, and I'll ask, it's interesting, I'll ask the same question to Charles. I grew up karting like these guys, and I got to college and tried to keep racing, and I was failing out of college, basically. My parents said, you need to make a decision, race. At that point, there wasn't a lot of feeder series. I'm 40 years old now, and they said you could drop out of school. I decided to stay in school. I knew it meant more to my parents. So I've been racing SCCA since 1996. I gave up on my dream, right? And these guys didn't, and that's why I think we idolize them. But it's hard, and you sacrifice a lot. Because if I would have tried to go after it, I wouldn't have graduated from college. I probably would have failed just because I'm 6'4", and I don't know how the hell you guys stay so skinny. Charles, is there something you can pinpoint to, sort of to Paul's point about that moment you make the decision that this is what you're going to be, and this is what you're going to do? Because if it doesn't work out, the opportunities elsewhere may be limited outside of the racing world. When did you make that decision? Because I chickened out. Honestly, I did. I chickened out, and
For me?
I regret it of racing, and I should have gone after it.
So I started go-kart around 10. Since I started, I knew that it was that I wanted to to make. But at the start, I didn't know if at the end I will succeed and I will be able to do it or not. I knew that inside me I want to make it, and I will make everything I can to achieve it, but I didn't know what it will make at the end. And around 17 years old, so I finished my first part at school, and so I had to take a decision between racing or school, and I took racing.
That's hard. And Alexander, I mean, what's your, you're going to make it. You're going to be a big star. No pressure. All of America's rooting for you. Weighing on your, you've already made it more, than most American racers have, certainly. 40 years old. I know it's hard, right? 40 years old. What do you see yourself doing? We're living off your Formula One winnings in Monaco with.
It's Paul.
You living with Paul when you're 40?
No.
Does he know that? You know that?
No, we were just talking about how he lives in Monaco now. It's quite cool. Anyways.
Very smart tax strategy. I support you, by the way, on
that. Man, that's like double my life, like so far.
Listen, kid. I wasn't quite at your level, but I tried to get there. You're going to be here soon enough. Believe me, it goes quick.
I've always, obviously, my focus at the moment is getting into F1, and then from there, it's very interesting to see what happens.
How long can a career last? Do you think we're going to see many Schumachers anymore, many Barrichellos anymore?
I don't think so, because Michael, I mean, he's a bit of a legend, so I don't really think that many 42 or 43-year-olds can remain in Formula One. And I kind of think by the time you get to 34, 35, you're kind of at your peak, if you will. But then, I mean,
at your peak? Sorry.
I think there's a life after that, and the amount of time that you will have spent in motorsports and the knowledge that you will have acquired and such. I mean, you could definitely make a career in motorsports, but at the same time, after spending that amount of time, I don't know if you would be interested in doing that. But one thing that I've really realized by competing in this and working my way to Formula One is the amount of almost life skills that you pick up in dealing with people and the business side of things. And F1 is as much of a business as it is a sport. So I feel like once you've kind of made it in F1, you are a personality and you are a brand. And if you are smart about it, you can go out and kind of continue that and be a spokesperson for something.
You can always do what most failed racers do. Become a broadcaster. Right? And you get to wear a lot of makeup and travel. In fact, I need to go to Atlanta because I'm hosting a business town hall event in Atlanta tomorrow morning, so I've got a 7 o'clock flight out of LaGuardia. I don't fly private like these guys do. I've got I'm flying Air Delta. So I'm going to wrap it up. I know there's some autographs and stuff going on afterwards. I will take one more question. The guy in the hat, you've been very patient. Thank you very much. Last question, then I've got to hop, but I know they're going to stick around for them.
Well, okay. I mean, I think it's a bit harsh possibly to say that the rules are random. The thing with Formula One that's unlike anything else in the world is how advanced it is technologically. And the rules are all built around, basically, a couple years ago, Formula One got to the point where it was far too expensive. And you lost manufacturers, BMW, Toyota, Honda, and it was becoming, Formula One was in trouble, for lack of a better word. And what they had to do is they had to find a way to reduce costs. And with that came rule changes. And then as that happened, people were finding kind of ways around that, and they were making their cars quicker and quicker. And then they kind of got to the point where the cars were almost becoming a bit too quick, and there was worries about safety. Okay, well, I was 5 years old 15 years ago. So that's quite a difficult question for me to answer, but I'm talking about... The rules are changing now as we speak. And they're changing every year, i.e. no refueling.
Another angle on that question, what can drivers do to influence the way the car technology is rolled out year by year so that it's not so strange for enthusiasts?
Probably a more fair question. I think your previous question was a good one. It's probably better directed at Bernie or the team principals. But I think they would agree with you anyway.
Any sport or anything you do in life, you will go to the rules, or you will try and go one step further. And that is the way Formula One evolves. Some teams have 500 people, and it's just brains and computers, and they will come up with something that is influential to their car. And then it will be the next team trying to react to it. And all they do is try and restrict it as best as they can and clarify the regulations that you have.
I'm going to have Charles, Sergio, Alexander, Paul, thank you all very much. Really appreciate you taking. I know they're all exhausted, by the way. They got up late and whatever. So thank you guys. And I guess there's an autograph session or something. Alexander, good luck, man. Sergio, thank you, Charles. Merci beaucoup. Bonne chance. Hi, thank you very much.
We stay here for the...
Sorry to have to run out again. My apologies for being late at the beginning. I hate being late. I'm sorry.